back there? Okay. I want to tell you something. It's often been said that we have a wall of sound behind us. And tonight we have a wall of sound in the front of us also, and we appreciate that. Thank you. So during rehearsals, we decided to do something just the four of us. So we came up with this idea to tell you a little bit about ourselves.
What's up, guys?
Should be interesting.
Robert Wallace. You should get to bed, young man. And KK and D. Deezy, KK. So nice to see you. Belmonte. Great to see you. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for spending this night with me. Headless Horseman. Saw most of you in the Robert Wallace live stream, which was great. I so much appreciate Robert. And I'm wishing great things for him tomorrow. Hoping wonderful things. I want a big fat nugget the size of this coffee cup to find its way downstream and land into his thingamajigger. And I mean, what a great dude. Great guy. Great guy. Let me turn that down a little bit. Is the volume okay with the music and the talk? I turned it down a little bit already. We'll see what happens. Hey, happy Friday. Go crazy. Go crazy. Don't let your body be lazy. Don't stop the booty rock. I don't remember the words, but it was like from 1980. I was like 8. Breakdancing was just making the scene. Breakdancing was cool. Most white people couldn't do it. Some could. And then there were people like me that wished we could. But you don't realize that you couldn't until you get in your 40s. I'm playing. That's not true. I realized it in my 30s. That's not true either. I'm hoping to realize it when I get in my 50s. Breakdancing will always be in style, yo. Where you going? Can I stop it? Can't stop this. I love breakdancing. I thought breakdancing was the coolest shit. People would show up to like breakdance in front of people and they whip down a big old piece of cardboard, and that was to like do backspins and shit because they didn't want to look like, you know, grated cheese when they did it on a New York sidewalk, which I guess having your back tore up is the least of your worries if you're doing a backspin on a New York City sidewalk. You shouldn't be. So everybody brought their own cardboard. And I remember people, man. I remember they used to be able to backspin, and they would like pop lock and then they'd like step into like these crazy. I can't do them right now. I'll do them sometime when I have time to stretch. I gotta stretch, get my body all limber. If I'm gonna like drop in and do some backspins, and I might even windmill. I'll go back and delete that. I'm never going to windmill. But that's crazy shit. These guys used to do this on a cardboard, fucking flattened out piece of cardboard. So, yeah, that was one form of dancing with me growing up. Was that scene. Hip hop was just coming on the scenes. You know what? I labeled this. I'm going to talk about Trump. I should probably just like stop what I'm talking about and go in that direction. Okay. So why don't I do that? My main thought about that, by the way, how are you all tonight? It's so nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Truly is great to see you all. What's going on in the world? I'm going to get to the Trump stuff. Don't worry. What I really, really want to focus on is that Hang on, I have to take this out of my ear. Okay, so I have to take that out of my ear because that was like messing me up, and this too. So let me just stop that. All right, so what's going on with Trump? Well, it's pretty cool what's going on right now. I'm not going to lie. Everything to the person that's not awake right now seems very chaotic, very crazy to them right now. And it is crazy. It is. But it's controlled crazy. The Patriots are in control 100%. As I've said before, there's small game plan maneuver changes that have to happen along the way, but the Patriots are in control of what's going on. They have so many different plays on their side that the deep state doesn't know which way it's coming from. There's all this chatter since 8chan's been down, therefore the Q board has been down, that Jim Watkins, the owner that created the new board that's coming up, is called 8kun. It's like the 8 from 8chan, but then it's KUN, 8kun. And there's been talk that that's supposed to be like live right now, and that people are assuming that once that's live and up, that Q will be dropping. And that could be the case. I've said it before. I don't doubt that we will at least hear something more from Q, if not a bunch from Q, because this is not another 4-year election. We were told that. What does that tell us in hindsight? That this is not another 4-year election. Guess what? It's an 8-year election. They told us by telling us it's not another 4-year election, that it's an 8-year thing. And this is the deprogramming of what's going on to the people in the United States, but really ultimately in the world, and especially the Western worlds. The Western world governments are shit. The European Union is garbage. The United States government was, pre-Trump, garbage. Justin Trudeau in Canada, who is about to be voted out, in my opinion, is garbage. Deep state puppets ruled and reigned in every portion of the world where it mattered. That's what this entire plan has been going on while the Great Awakening has been going on. The Great Awakening is the people realizing what's going on, how deep it goes. That's the parts that you and I have been diving into to see really how deep this goes. Right now, people are just waking up to the fact. They know about Harvey Weinstein. They know about all that. They're starting to get glimpses of it. But all of this stuff, this corruption, this reprehensible behavior that's been going on is just now starting to filter into the minds of the people, not only of America, but of the world. And in a lot of respects, the world is way more awake than most libtard Democrats. And I don't hate Democrats. I love them. We just can't have your extreme ones. No more pussy hats. Come on. No more of that. I'll touch for a second right now before I go into Trump on Tulsi Gabbard. Good for her. I don't know if you guys watch the fireworks. Hillary Clinton came out and said Tulsi Gabbard was basically, in her opinion, a Russian asset that was being formed so that she could disrupt the 2020 election. Hillary Clinton's basis for accusation is to say that Tulsi Gabbard will not be elected as the Democrat representative against Trump, but that she will break away once she doesn't get that, and she will form her own independent party, which will pull enough votes away from the Democrats to actually reelect Trump. And they're trying to base it all behind the presence of Russia. That's what Hillary Rodham Clinton is doing right now. and it's not working. Their magic is not working. People are not awake to it. They're not hip to it. They're not buying it for a second. Oh, you're fucking retard libtards are eating it up. But fortunately, they are a small, dwindling culture of animals that once ruled and ran on this earth. Their numbers are dwindling and they're almost done. This really comes down to how much shit do you want to put in your mouth and how big a spoon do you want to shovel it in with? Because you are being fed a shit pie, a shit sandwich. And whether you're just waking up or you've been awake, you're realizing it right now how big of a bite you've been taking all these years. That is part of the Great Awakening. But also the exposure of these clowns. How incredibly crazy is it that Hillary Clinton would even say something so preposterous as that Tulsi Gabbard, who was a career or how many years, but a veteran of the war and a patriot and someone I will never vote for should she come up against Trump. I'm just not voting for her. But anybody that calls out like the Clintons and their crime and all of this is kind of okay with me. And it tells me that maybe she's influenced by the left, but she's not bought by the left. And she very well could have sealed her own fate of winning the Democrat election. She could have. I don't think she has any illusions of being a third-party independent runner against the Democrat nomination and her and Trump. I think she's planning on winning the whole thing. And at the end of the day, not to wear that cliche out, because I do, but at the end of the day, Tulsi Gabbard and Donald Trump don't see that much different from each other, especially recently with the mastermind chess move that Trump made in Syria with Turkey and how this is all going to play out. This is a giant pie in the face of the deep state. Just like when Trump released a transcript of his phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, right after Adam Schiff's interpretation of what he said it came out to be. I mean, just ridiculous. This has gone on beyond the point of ridiculous. When you really start putting together where the evidence is, what they're even arguing about anymore, it's completely stupid and ridiculous. They are beating it into the heads of the dunce in America. And I won't say of the world at this point, because the world has an excuse to be dunce against what's going on in America. But you don't. And you liberals, man, I said that really mean. I'm sorry. You liberals better wake the fuck up. Christmas is coming early for the Republicans and the Trump lovers and for the people of this world and of America. Look at what's going on in Hong Kong. They are marching with United States flags, praising Donald Trump. Why? It's because of the message. The message. It's not just spoken. This is action in play, action in motion. It's happening right before our eyes. We're watching it. And all the while this goes on, Trump continues to just box them like a professional boxer with his tweets. Why do you think Kamala Harris is so ridiculously scared of Trump keeping his Twitter account and tried to pull Elizabeth Warren in, who happens to be, I don't know, maybe a little savvy. I've heard she's very smart. Didn't buy into it, but Kamala Harris wanted to get rid of Trump's Twitter account. Why? It's the lifeline to him and you and me. It's the lifeline. The ultimate super information highway from him to you. And he ain't lying to you. He's pulling no punches. He is the reason that I made a Twitter account. I never cared about Twitter. When you guys met me, I'd never made a YouTube video. I was just one of you, just going through it, just waking up and going through the motions. And eventually, you guys know the rest of the story. I don't know. Here's where we're at today. It's been a long time. We've actually kind of all been together for quite a while. It's crazy to think about, but really it's a pretty good long relationship being part of this truth movement. And it has not been all great, and it hasn't been all great in all of your lives, nor mine. But here we are, supporting our president, knowing that there are gigantic cement shoes that are about to drop on the deep state. Don't lose your hope. Don't lose it, you guys. Never lose that. Not when the enemy is destructing themselves in front of us. Don't lose your hope. Not when we haven't even had to hardly play any offense, to tell you the truth. It's all been counter moves. And it's been slow going. Yes, I get it. It is. It has been. But it's only been slow going because there have been counter moves that have been based on the directions and the emotions and the chit chat and all that shit that goes on within the deep state. I mean, if you don't think that everything that's being monitored right now is not for a reason, or don't think that that's happening, then I'm sorry. I mean, I choose to disagree and say it is. And that all cards are on the table, especially when you're the president and you're in charge of everything, is that I don't really see a way that these people could communicate with each other under any pretense that could not be monitored. It would be. And it is, despite that's why, and there's speculation, 100% on this. None of this is provable. And maybe it will be one day, but there has been no less than one attempt at the president's life. This is true. There has been one attempt, but the number is closer and ridiculous to like 24. So if we cut that number in half and say it's not 24, but we all saw the missile launch. We know that's one. We know that this guy flew in on a frickin' parachute and some guy in the Trump Secret Service died, like, super strangely. They are, at this point, they are pulling no punches. The deep state, we are watching a movie, but this is no movie. This is real life. I didn't want to say it the other night, and I really don't want to reiterate it now, but I trust so much in the plan that I think that Trump going to Dallas was sending a message to the deep state, a big, giant fuck you. They thought they were slick. They thought Nancy Pelosi could wear her beads, her orange beads with the bullets on it, and wear a green dress for go. Who knows if all that shit's true? And I don't even know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's been reporting on it. It makes sense. These people's symbols will be their downfall. That much we've been told. Their symbols and symbolism will be their downfall. Now, I choose to believe and trust that part of this because they flash it so blatantly in our eyes that, I mean, what are you going to do? How do you if you want to just flat deny it, then deny it, I guess. Then don't, shut off the live stream now. But you are at the moment. You're not at that moment. You've been at this moment. You're all in. You're all in. At least I'm all in. Until the people that are being exposed show themselves to be anything but what they are, fuck them, honestly. Because what they are is the highest level of the worst type of individuals that exist in humanity, honestly. And that's putting it nicely. There's levels within Hollywood, within media, within government that aren't as bad and aren't as bad and aren't as bad. And it gets watered down. The earlier you get into politics, they got to wear on you, eventually get you to the point where they know you play ball. So there's factions to this that some won't be as bad as others. They're not in the pecking order. But there comes a point in time where you're in this and you know that it's child trafficking. You know that it's human trafficking. You know it's rape. You know about Jeffrey Epstein's Island. When you're Bill Clinton, you know about Jeffrey Epstein's Island 26 times. And for some weird reason, Hillary Clinton knows about it 8 times. At that point, you've made a decision to sell out your country. Look at the Bidens. I don't want to rehash all of it, but Joe Biden goes over there and threatens to have the prosecutor that's looking into his son's company, Burisma Holdings, that he's now working for, making $50,000 a month. And this guy is investigating it. And you'll hear people say, oh, well, everybody in the EU and the European Union wanted this prosecutor to be fired because he made trouble. You know what? This guy was the only honest one there, and he was doing real research, and he was getting to the matters on many different interests that were within the European Union. And that's why the collective group was like, get rid of him. He's a troublemaker. You know why? He was a truth hound. He was interviewing. He was going after these companies. He knew that this was bullshit. And how do they portray it on the mainstream television? This guy was just a samurai going after people and just unfounded claims and all that. No, this man was very well over the target of truth and was about to bring it. And Joe Biden knew it. And he told him point blank, fire that prosecutor or you're not getting the $1.5 billion. And they called his bluff and said, by whose authority? You don't have the authority to do that. Only the president does. And Joe Biden doubled down and looked at him and said, call him. You don't think so? Call him. Why is nobody bringing that up? That was a threat, a veiled threat. It was what it was it was evidence and proof that Biden had the green light to make this deal. That's what nobody talks about. Why would he ever threaten to say, call him? If Barack Obama wasn't 100% on board, why does nobody talk about this? That's your smoking gun. It's your smoking gun. And Obama, not only that, is not out here defending. You know why? They're counting on everybody to remain asleep and not ask these types of questions. Nobody's asking this. Nobody's confronting. And although so much truth is being done right now, so many people on television that are reporters by way of like Greg Jarrett and Sarah, geez, what an absolute asshole I am. So many of these independent journalists are out there really getting the truth. John Solomon. I really want to kill myself. What's her name? Sarah Connor. No. Take me to Sarah Connor. That bothers me. That that one left. It'll come back. But all of this is happening right in front of our faces now. Nobody's got it for me, huh, Sarah? I got no takers. Sarah Carter. Never mind, I got it. Sarah Carter. Her. John Solomon. All of these reporters that have done exceptional work. Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch. Filing for all these FOIPs. Freedom of Information. FOIs. Yes. Freedom of Information. He's filing for all of them on all of the emails. There has been more information that has been disclosed to us in the last 6 to 9 to 12 months from Tom Fitton with Judicial Watch than you can imagine. And though his favorite color is probably gray, what's coming out of his mouth is very pertinent. And you just have to let that information go into the filter of your ears and let it get up into your head and think about and listen to what he's actually saying. And you're going to discover some amazing things. And a lot of that also goes along the lines of Mark Levin or Mark Levine. Mark Levine. No, I find it strange that Hannity calls him the Great One every time he has him on the show. And though I can appreciate that he is indeed great, that feels awkward when he does that every time. Anyway, that being said, Mark Levine is a boss. He has got it down. He's got delivery. He can build the narrative of truth, and that's what makes it great. Is that he's not just tap dancing on some bullshit pretense of waxy glass. I mean, this man is out there with the soft shoe, hammering it up on the glass and putting it on the tee, and people are smacking the shit out of it with the truth train. And it's happening. People are waking up. It's been a lot of fun. So how about I get to those Trump things I wanted to talk about? Because what I was really trying to get to initially was to say, and I haven't been reading the chat, and I apologize. You guys have probably got all kinds of conversations going. But if you're not signed up with Twitter, I would encourage you to do it now and just simply follow Donald Trump. Because if you are missing and lacking the Q drops, they are in full force. And they are being delivered every day. The only difference is that this isn't Q. It's Q plus. And if you're familiar with the Q drops, then you know who Q plus is. Lots of things are being stated. Lots of information. Lots of information that is knocking the teeth out of the disinformation that the mainstream television puts out there. Fuck those fuckers. They are some horrible, reprehensible people. Jeff Zucker of CNN has been fully exposed. Fully exposed. Have you seen any of the videos that have been out? James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, James O'Keefe with Project Veritas, all the videos that have come out, all the undercover, even some CNN people lost their jobs over it. But you know what people are saying? Fuck them. It's not that we don't care. It's just that what's going on is so big to the health of the world and America, but the world really, because this will all roll downhill, whether good or bad. America is still the beacon. And if good things happen, that will roll downhill to the rest of the world. And if really bad things happen, that will also roll down to the rest of the world. So we are still a beacon. So let me get to the Trump drops. Q drops. Q plus drops. We might get Q back. It don't matter. It just doesn't matter. Because if you now understand the plan, if you get it, then you get that we're already past the point of needing Q. And I love that this movement is not relying on that. That like people are going to be like, oh my God, there's not going to be any more Q. There might be, but who cares? If Q never comes back, it's A-OK. Because it means that that has done its job. It's done its work. Where we are all where we need to be. And if it comes back, great. But everything's going off without a hitch. Maybe not without a hitch. That's too broad. Maybe there's a hitch. And been many hitches along the way. You know what? I did mention that they tried to assassinate him multiple times. Those are definitely hitches. So forgive my my irredeemable parts for the last minute. Anyway, let's go to some of President Trump's tweets today. And I got to tell you, the longer I follow him, the funnier he gets. Because I just see that he completely trolls just everybody. So what did he say today? All right, so 4 hours ago, this man tweets a ton, let me tell you. And I'll finish up with his tweets and call it a night, probably. But all right, so man, 7 hours, 10 hours. I want to thank the Secretary of Energy, Rick Perry, for the outstanding job, blah, 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 blah. Can you believe I'm doing this important work for our country and have to deal with corrupt Adam Schiff and the do-nothing Democrats at the same time? It was not intended to be this way for a president 13 hours ago, you guys. This may as well be live time. I mean, let me get into some of his tweets today. This is 14 hours ago, just spoke to President Erdogan of Turkey. He told me that there was a minor sniper and mortar fire that was actually quickly eliminated. He said very much wants to ceasefire or pause to work. Likewise, the Kurds want it and the ultimate solution to happy. Too bad there wasn't this thinking years ago. Instead, it was always held together with very weak band-aids and in an artificial manner. There is goodwill on both sides and a really good chance for success. The U.S. has secured the oil, and the ISIS fighters are doubled secured by the Kurds in Turkey. I have just been notified that some European nations are not willing for the first time to take the ISIS fighters that came from their nations. This is good news, but should have been done after we captured them. Anyway, big progress being made. This, my friends, is what winning feels like. That's 14 hours ago, which is basically for most of us to just say it was yesterday. All right, now he's taking the deep state ass and he's beating that ass. He's coming out with a direct link from his Twitter account and talking directly to us. Who do you think he's talking to when he puts out a tweet like I just read? How real is that tweet I just read? I mean, he is talking to you. Get on his page. Somebody said to him, Mr. President, many more lives will be saved when we defeat terrorism, which is humanity's arch enemy. I'm confident that this joint effort will promote peace and stability in our region. That is Mr. Erdogan that tweeted that back to Trump. And Trump, in all caps, said, defeat terrorism. This is all yesterday or today, however you want to look at it. Trump says, I already read that one. Can you believe that I'm doing this important work for our country and have to deal with the corrupt Adam Schiff and the do-nothing Democrats at the same time? It was not intended to be this way for a president. Yeah, I guess it's worth repeating. You're right. He wants to thank the Secretary of Energy. I already told you about that one. Let's get into some more that were just like now 10 hours ago. Think of how many lives we saved in Syria and Turkey. This is 6 hours ago. Think about how many lives we saved in Syria and Turkey by getting a ceasefire yesterday. Thousands and thousands, and maybe many more. True. True. Not wrong. Not true. I think it's safe to say that everything that sounds like that sounds true. In the Trump administration, we're breaking records like nobody's ever broke before. I would say it's very true and not wrong. Let's move on. Because the House had already voted, this is Trump speaking to you. Because the House had already voted against the impeachment proceeding, the current inquiry is totally invalid. The current sham of a so-called investigation is nothing more than an unconstitutional power grab. It needs to end, said Congressman Jason Chaffetz on the Sean Hannity show. Corrupt Adam Schiff. That was 3 hours ago. My guys, my friends, it's all coming out and beating their asses. This is like, I heard it in a channel, the X22 report. These are waves of truth that are hitting the shores of the deep state, and it's eroding. I can't ever say that word and not think of Jim Carrey, though, when he talks about eroding, when he's on that ship on Bruce Almighty. And he goes crazy and runs through the waterfalls. Anyway, these truth bombs from President Trump are eroding at the shores of the deep state foothold. They're eroding, and Trump is hitting them with lefts and rights every night, all day. You're going to do this, I'm going to have a rally. You're going to do that, I'm going to go on and pull in some world leader and then have a total news conference about other shit while he's got the news leader sitting next to him. He just bang, 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 bang. He don't care. This man is working the body hard. Deep state is feeling it. They are getting their asses stomped. Make no mistake, the deep state is getting their asses stomped. We are, in fact, watching a movie. A very long movie, but nonetheless a great movie. What it all represents in the end will be well worth it. Whatever we're going through, whatever you're going through, anything you're going through. And I like to bring religion in right now, just for this. Is that, you know what? Power in prayer. Get into your prayer. I'm not a preacher. I'm not an evangelist in any way, but I pray. I believe in it. I think you should give it a chance if you haven't. But what's going on is divine. There is real evil being rooted out of this world as we speak. Now, however this matches into the Bible and all that, I'm not into it. I think I heard once that nobody knows the timing, but that there'll be signs and wonders and will show us that, yeah, you know what, it could be coming up. I don't know what that means. I mean, that could mean 5,000 years. But I mean, the signs are there. I get that stuff. I get it. I just don't want to like make a political debate about it or any of that kind of stuff, you know. I just kind of want to agree with everybody that, you know what, God's cool. He wants everybody to love each other and do the best you can and try not to sin. I think once you get on that program, you're okay. You know, people want to complicate things so much. I don't know. I'm amazed at the transformation that President Trump has made. I mean, they really, really showed that the emperor had no clothes when Trump ran for president. They really tried to undress him in every way that they could in front of the people and get him naked. And he took naked and he acted like he was in a sweat lodge with the guys. I mean, that shit rolled off his back like, you just must understand that's locker room talk. I'm very embarrassed. My family and I have had discussions, and that's just locker room talk. And he just beat that shit out of his face and just went on to the next talking point. The man is a savage, or at least a pretty damn good counterpuncher. I would say that. He's beat their ass. That's why I like him. I like him because I know that despite all his flaws, he's helping to restore America, to get rid of whatever this social experiment was going on and has been shown to be failed in many countries, that he recognized it. You know, something always stuck with me. In one of his speeches, he said, I always knew this time would come, that the American people would need a leader like me. And now I'm totally going off script, but it was something along that lines. And that I would be there. And I think he's had his fingers on the pulse of what's been going on in America for a long time. I think that's why he called out Obama's birth certificate. I think this has all been a part to wake people up. And they just said eventually, you're our guy. You're our guy. He really could have retired, or whatever, or just did business and just had an awesome billionaire's lifestyle, or he could have changed the world. Thank God he chose to change the world. Thank God. Honestly, I'm quite fearful to think about where our country would be had she gotten in. Honestly, what's crazy is had she gotten in at the time of the election, none of us would have thought anything about it outside of, damn, you know what? Man, Trump really had a message in this and that, and nothing would have changed overnight. And she would have gotten in, and it would have been this nice little easy handoff, and everybody would have went back to sleep and said, okay, well, you know what? First woman president, here we go. And it was all set up into the big scheme. I mean, that's how it honestly would have went. What we know now is looking back, since all of the corruption has been exposed now as a result of him winning. But think back to when he won. Before that, we only had a glimpse, just a little glimpse that could have easily been washed away into the conspiracy theories of life, and would have been. And we would all be in a much different situation right now than we are right now. And I can almost say with certainty it would be for the worse had she been in. It's only now in hindsight, having him in, having the corruption exposed, that we can truly appreciate how great of a presidential run this has been. How magnificent of a patriot was a man who had everything, literally gave it up. And not only him, his family. You can say what you want about Trump. You could say he grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth and did get a break. You know what? He got those breaks. He got some of those breaks. But you know what? For you to hate on him for getting that break from his dad is as much as you hating on me. If somebody came on me and said, hey, I know you didn't ask for it, but you seem like a bright guy. Here's some money. Why don't you think about going into business? I mean, you guys going to hate me the rest of my life? Because an opportunity like that fell in my lap? Or put yourself in those shoes. Any one of you. If that opportunity fell in your lap, I would be the happiest person on the planet for you. I really would. I would be so Happy for somebody like that. But you know what? Information and truth is used for both good and bad. He represents an existential threat to the way that the government was going. And they were tearing at him and tearing him down. And the stories and the truths that we'll know when this is all said and done, when all of this is said and done, we will be blown away by things that were thwarted and plans that were discovered. And really what the future of America was in the true plans of the socialist Democrats. We will learn one day what all of that was our destiny. This man will go up on Mount Rushmore. There ain't no chance. Either that or he's just going to get his own mountain. And it'd be huge. Maybe we could make a casino and a hotel out of it. I'd love that. We could have it on maybe the biggest, maybe Pikes Peak. Maybe it'd be Trump's Peak. How's that? Let's have that. We'll have a penthouse. We'll put it all in. When this is done, he'll be worthy of it. I don't think he's looking for that, to tell you the truth. I don't. This man gives up his salary. And you might think that's for optics. That's great. He gives up his salary. And he does. He does. But I think he does it because he does love America. He does appreciate that everything that this country has afforded him and given him and the opportunities. And when I say that, I tell you again, look back at any of his interviews from as long ago as you can find them. Like I watched one from 1980 with a woman. I was 8 years old. Her name was Rona Barrett. He sounds virtually the same today as he sounds when he was like 32 or 33 years old. I look back on 33 and go, that was 14 years again for me. Fuck me. I mean, this guy was world leader material 14 years earlier than what I am right now. So I know I'm a stooge. I mean, and I say that with all the humiliating luster I can put up. I mean, I'm joking. I mean, listen, I've met a lot of people that are super not with the program and never will be. But I know I'll never launch a rocket into space. They might strap me to the top of one and say, let's see how this guy does out there. But I will never be the guy pushing the button to launch it. You can guarantee that. All right, let's see if there's any more Trump's tweets that I've lacked missing. Man, that was a little bit of a rant. Sorry. Pelosi and impeachment. This was 3 hours ago. There have already been 3 votes, and they've all failed miserably. There actually has been 3 impeachment votes that have been put in front of the House of Representatives that have all failed, not including what's going on right now. I'm talking about in the prior 2 years where the Democrats tried to muster up some shit and say, let's impeach him, and they've failed for lack of evidence. They are just trying to throw everything they can at different impeachment scenarios, and eventually they're going to take whatever one eventually hits a nerve and clink. We're going to go on that. That's where we're at. So Pelosi and the impeachment, they've already had 3 votes. That's the 3 I just told you about, and they've all failed miserably. Here's why there might not be a 4th. Now, keep in mind, this was put out by President Trump, and I haven't read it before, but what does this mean? Here's why there may not be a 4th. 137 Democrats voted against on the last vote. Many of these voting in favor will be beaten in 2020. So what Trump is saying, President Trump is saying that there's 137 Democrats that are part of the House of Representatives. These 137 Democrats were voted in as Democrats in counties and where Trump had won the 2016 election. So these were people that were winning the Democrat seat within a county, in a region, that was won by Trump. And so what it means is that there's a heavy influence in 137 different counties that will directly be influenced by the House of Representatives if these people decide that they want to go forward with an impeachment vote to try to impeach him. They know it will be political suicide. That's what these 137 Democrats will know. And they're not going to give that up because they are not part of the swamp. They have held their battle lines as long as they know how to. A lot of these are freshman congressmen, congresspeople. And I'm not talking about AOC plus 3 because they were groomed. I'm talking about all these other ones. Maybe these 137 that say, I want a political future. I have been raised a Democrat. And now, eventually, they'll say to themselves, I have been lied to. Hopefully, there's that level of goodness where those 137 Democrats come back and say, not only do you not have any evidence, you have nothing sufficient to even charge against this president. This has all been just a complete bag of shit fed to the American public that just has to eat it. Eat it. There you go. Here's your bag of shit. Eat it. Eat it. I hope those 137 Democrats do that, because if they do, because this is coming to a head, Pelosi is going to have to force a vote. The Republicans are not going to let this go any further. Nobody's cooperating. The Democrats think that Adam Schiff thinks that he's submitted all these subpoenas to these people to show up and that they're not complying and showing up. Every one of them says we fail to comply anymore until the House holds a vote, because that's the right course of action. But Nancy Pelosi won't call the impeachment to a vote because she knows she doesn't have the vote. I give you the 137 Democrats that are probably scared out of their mind and don't know what to do. Their ethics are telling them, we can't impeach this guy. Their party is telling them, come on board. There's fresh salmon, nice cigars, whiskey, all you want. And if you're into it, Coke and hookers. I mean, pray for those 137 Democrats that got to make this choice. I hope they choose America. And I think it's important, you guys, that there is a balance to government. It can't all be Republican. I told you I would have voted for Trump if he would have ran as a Democrat. I didn't vote Republican. I didn't vote Democrat. I voted Trump. And I will vote Trump in the future. Although that's highly unlikely that would ever need to happen. But it's not for a lack of trying out of the Democrats, those pieces of shit. And not all of them. I know many great Democrats in my life. Beautiful, wonderful people that love America. But there's just so many that are just asleep and misguided. You know, that was me. It took me breaking out of that matrix to get where I'm at today. I was a bleeding heart Democrat. You know, I thought, can't we all just, I mean, there's plenty of money. There's all this, there's all that. But I can't explain it because I think what's happened is that a lot of people have taken, so you have the blue pill, which keeps you asleep, and you have the red pill, which wakes you up. I think a lot of people said, yeah, I don't want the blue pill. And they took the red pill and they went, oh, that's enough truth for me. Oh, yep. That's bad. That's not good. That's not good. That's icky. That's not good. And they took the rest of that red pill and they went fling, or they went, oh, I'll just tuck that into somewhere for later. And I think that could be the case too. I think it's at the point where the people need to take whatever part of the red pill they didn't eat, and they need to now take that down, and they're probably programmed and positioned to be able to accept it. Maybe that's by design. I think so. We'll see how it all plays out. Anyway, I've literally been on Twitter talking about Trump's tweets. I have not read any of your chat, as you can guess. So I hope you guys are doing well. This has been Yeah, it's 55 minutes. That's plenty good, right? So wonderful of you all the show. I appreciate it like crazy. Let's see what happens in the next few days, okay? Let's keep an eye on things. Red October. There's shit going down. I'm excited for it. Pumped, actually. So, yeah, have a good night. Don't forget to pray and be cool to everybody you know. And even people you run into, be cool to them too, okay? Okay, see ya.